Okay, so like as all of us know that Mr. Iyer is a very well-known and established piece of sports management arena in India. So I'll just give a short background of his. He's currently the CEO of ATK Mohan Bagan, which is one of the most successful teams in ISL. And he was also the CEO of Rajasthan Royals from 2007 to 2015, and also the CEO of Rising Pune Super Giants, which made a very brief entry for 2 years. And then outside of cricket and football, Mr. Raghu has also been the CEO of RPSG Mavericks, which is a team comprising competing at the Ultimate Table Tennis League. And apart from sports, Sir has also been the national accounts manager for Reuters, then the assistant vice president of Sony Entertainment Pictures, and also the advertising sales director of Discovery Channel. So it's an honor to have you among us today. We extend to you a warm welcome from the family of Business Casa.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Uddhav. Thank you for that warm welcome, and good evening, everyone. So, Uddhav, as discussed with you, I think today's session is going to be on the business of sport. And like I had mentioned earlier, again, I would want this to be as interactive as possible. We can have various questions. So I have just briefly prepared just a few brief slides just to take you through, to take everyone through as to what is the whole sporting ecosystem, what is which are some of the leagues out here in India, and basically how do leagues function, how do clubs function, what is the business behind all this glamorous sports that you see. So the way I want to take the next 45 minutes is I will just prepare and show you something for about 10-15 minutes. And then after that, I'll just throw it open for questions. And then I think that's the best way in which we can have a two-way conversation. Yeah. So if you allow me, I can share the screen now.
Yeah, sir, you can do it, sir.
Okay, so the business of sport is what I'm calling this presentation, and we'll take about just about 7 or 8 slides, which I'll take you through. So the most important piece in this whole thing is when we say the sports industry, when we say the sports industry ecosystem, what is it that we are talking about sport? I mean, is it the athletes, is it teams, is it brands? What is it? So here we try to just in this slide capture what are some of the key elements, 5 key elements of the sports industry ecosystem. So the first and the most important, or not the most important, but an extremely important cog in this whole wheel is the media. And when we say the media, what I mean out here are the broadcast and the broadcasters, because as you see, you would have read about, you just asked me about the IPL, there is the ISL. All of them have to be broadcast on some television channel, and only then does it get amplified in the manner that we want it to be. So the media is one very, very important aspect of the sporting ecosystem. Second come the leagues, which is like the BCCI runs the IPL, the FSDL runs the Indian Super League. There's the Kabaddi Federation that runs the Kabaddi League, etc., etc. So then the next cog in this whole thing are the leagues which take care of in the respective sport. Within the leagues, there are the teams. So you all know about all the other 8 IPL teams. There are 11 ISL teams now. There are 12 Kabaddi teams like this. There are badminton teams, etc. So then there are league owners, and then there are team owners. The third very important aspect in this ecosystem are the brands, or these are the companies, these are the sponsors who come in and put in actually the money for the advertising. They either put it on television, or they put it in sponsoring the league, or then they put it in sponsoring the teams, or the fourth thing is sponsoring the athletes. So then the third one is the brands, and we'll talk about more in detail at a later stage, as in when you guys wanted to. And the fourth element are the athletes. Now, besides, if you don't have athletes, there is no sport out here. You know, athletes are the ones who actually make this whole thing worth watching. They are the men and women who who give us the heroes, who give us the heroes. That's the reason why we watch a Ronaldo play or watch a Dhoni play, and that's what drives this entire ecosystem. And in the middle of all of this is the most important, I would say, the most important part in the sporting ecosystem, which unfortunately many times don't get the kind of attention that they deserve, are the fans. Now, the unfortunate part, our fans are all, they're all faceless fans. So one doesn't know who are these fans they look like. So there are millions and millions of fans. But now with social media and all of this, so there are hundreds of millions of fans of each and every sport, every league, every team, every athlete. So I think the fans are very, very important. And then if you see some of these arrows that are drawn out here, this just clearly shows how does one feed out of each out of the other. So the media gives the broadcast to the leagues get sponsorship from the brands. The leagues and the teams then sell merchandise and the tickets to the fans. The merchandise and engagement with the brands is there with the fans. The brands then in turn sponsor the athletes. There is a lot of advertising that there is athlete driven advertising that happens on the media. So then this whole thing becomes a very, very robust ecosystem. But it is very important to understand this slide, because these are the five most important. I presume all of you are fans. All of us are fans. We've all grown up watching some cricket or football or hockey or whatever there is. So there are the fans. Some of you might be aspiring to be athletes. You're all very young, so I'm sure there are various skills that you guys must be having. Some of you must be aspiring to be athletes, or then you must be aspiring to become business professionals and run media companies, or become brand managers and run massive brands, or then become administrators and run leagues and teams. So this, in a nutshell, is what is the sports industry ecosystem. I'll move on to the next slide, which basically gives a snapshot of what the Indian sports industry is, the size of this industry. And here I've primarily taken only what is the kind of monies that people are spending, that the brands are spending onto this whole thing. So the industry size is approximately about 6,000 crores, which is about $800 million, $796 million. And this is an approximation. There are various methods of arriving at what the industry size is. So this we've taken from a Group M report, which says that the industry size is about 5,894 crores. Now, out of this, again, like I said, media is extremely important. So about 3,600 crores is being spent on media. So there are brands which spend the media, they are spending advertising on media. So you see Cred spending on media. You see, all the other, you see the Levers and the Procter and Gambles and the Tata Motors spending money on media. And then you have the sponsorship market, which is, you have Vivo sponsoring the IPL. You have Dream11 sponsoring the IPL. You have Hero Indian Super League. So that is on the sponsorship part. And then they sponsor the leagues, and then they also sponsor teams. You have Ultratech, you have SRMB, which is a big sponsor right now. So, so you have all of these sponsors who are sponsoring these things. And then there is a small element, which is the brand endorsements, which again, you have the Virat Kohli, Dhoni, and a couple of days endorsing the brands. So that broadly will show you what the industry size is. Now, if you again break this whole thing, I just briefly told you about what the media spends and sponsorship is. The lower part of the slide talks about what is the kind of share of this thing that cricket gets versus the other sports. Now in India, unfortunately, you see how badly skewed it is towards cricket. So out of 5,900 crores, 5,100 crores goes purely towards cricket. And I'm sure it's no surprise to all of you that you see a lot of advertising around cricket. So it is purely heavily driven towards cricket. But the positive side is that there are these emerging sports that are coming up. And that is what, when I say emerging sports, the second sport is football, followed by kabaddi. Then there is volleyball, there is badminton league, there is ultimate table tennis league. All these are the emerging sports, but it is heavily favored towards cricket. So there's about 5,200 crores. So this is again, I think, a very important slide for all of you to understand that this is how the whole thing is structured out here. Okay, the athletes endorsing brands. This year, there's been a 5% growth in the athlete endorsing brands in spite of the pandemic. There have been various, brands have gone completely digital, and they've been using this. Just to take off from the previous slide, 92% of the total brand endorsements have come from cricketers. That's again a huge, huge number. And out of those 92%, 58% is either Virat or MS. So again, there you see, it is the kind of two guys leading the whole route. And then all the others, out of the 377 brand endorsements that happened last year, 275 were done by cricketers. All the others were then led by, I would say, PV Sindhu, who's a badminton player. And now you also see lots of women cricketers getting in brands. Initially, possibly 2 years back, you didn't have the Mithali Raj and Smriti Mandhana as being so popularly known, but now lots of people know this. So it is still very much in favor of cricket and cricketers. When I say cricketers, it's primarily male, then followed by female, then followed by all the other sports. But again, like I said in the previous slide, the positive direction is that yes, there is a small amount of dent which the other sports are also making, which again, 10 years back, you didn't have a football league, you didn't have a kabaddi league, you didn't have a volleyball league, but all those leagues exist right now. So it's all happening in the right direction. Again, so Indian Premier League is absolutely the big daddy of all the leagues that are present out here. It is followed by the Vivo Pro Kabaddi League, which didn't happen last year. This year also, I think it will happen only either end of this year or early next year. There's the Hero I League, which is the football league, the Indian Super League, which is again the football league, which is now the premier football league of the country. The Pro Premier Badminton League, which unfortunately didn't happen last year, but again, they're hoping that this year will happen. Besides this, there is a wrestling league, there is a boxing league, there is a volleyball league, and there is a table tennis league also, which you did mention about, which we as a group, RPSG, also own a small team there. So all these leagues are coming up. What this means is that there are for the athletes who are in this, who are badminton players or table tennis players, it is giving them the window to compete with the best internationally. There is somebody putting in money. There is there are few brands that are coming up of them, and then it is giving them the national focus also. So, for example, in table tennis, if you see, Sharat Kamal and Manika Batra, they are pretty big names, and they are going to be representing India in the Olympics. There might be an archery league that will come up in the recent past. Just a few days back, you would have read Deepika Kumari becoming world number one archer in women's in the whole world. So that I thought is a great achievement. Aditi Ashok is the only Indian young golfer who's made it to the Olympics. There is a fencer also, Bhanu Kumari, I think her name is, and she's made it to the Olympics. So these are all stories about how, besides cricket, there are these other athletes who are coming on and trying to make a small dent in the market, and we are hopeful that in the next decade or so, this whole thing will grow, and you'll have many more heroes besides just cricketers out here. So the business of sport, again, what is this business? People talk about the league and the teams, and people come to me and ask me, how does one make money? I mean, where do you see all the money, or you go into auctions, you see people spending money, you see teams spending 10 crores and 15 crores on Ben Stokes and Virat Kohli and all these players. So where is this money coming from? So clearly, every team has, on the revenue side, there are 5 basic items. First and most important is the broadcast and the media rights. So like we said in the first slide, the media is a very, very important aspect of this whole thing, which is what they buy out the rights from the holders, from the rights holders of the, for example, Star will bid to get the rights from the BCCI for IPL. Similarly, Star had to bid to get the rights from AIFF and FSDL for football. In the past, Sony was the one which had won the rights for cricket. So the broadcast media rights is a very big thing. A part of that, whatever is the money that they pay to the federation, comes back to the teams. So there is a very significant part from the broadcast and the media rights that comes into the team. So that is a first line item. The second big important item is the sponsorships that the teams get. So you'll see the KKR has a different sponsor, RCB has a different sponsor. So they're on the jerseys, whatever are the sponsors, the sponsorship fee that they get. So that is the second big item that they get. The ticket revenue from the gate receipts that every team gets. Merchandise. Now, this is a very small item which in India has not grown as much, but I think will grow very soon. It's a matter of time. Internationally, you would have again seen Ronaldo's t-shirt. The moment he went from one club to the other, Juventus sold out and made all the money which they paid in as transfer fees completely in 6 months' time. And similarly, then this player trading is again a small thing which happens in cricket and football, not too much in the other sports. But that's again something which is a small line item which as a chief executive one has to keep a look at. So these are all the revenue items. Now on the cost items, there is a franchisee fee that every team has to pay to the which is a share of the profit to the league owner. There are huge player salaries. These are the auctions that are very visible. So it is a huge media event itself when you see a player auction. All the player salaries are something that the teams have to pay to the players each year. There is the travel and accommodation part, which again the teams have to look after. The match conducting costs, so you play the vendors, the infrastructure, hospitality, the marketing agencies, event agencies, ad agencies, and of course the staff salaries and the overhead. So you have marketing managers and sales managers. So that is primarily the business of the revenues and the costs. Currently, the IPL teams, the revenues are far higher than what the costs are. Some of the other teams, some of the other leagues may not be as robust as the IPL, but going in that direction. So this is again a very, I thought, an important slide for all of you to look at. And in the beginning, as we spoke about, many of you might be aspiring to become to join clubs and franchisees, so that you know which are all the kind of jobs that exist in a franchise and in a club. This is the typical organization structure that I've just drawn out for your understanding. So on the top are the owners, so you have all the owners of the clubs. Below that is the chief executive who's in charge of running the day-to-day thing of the club. And then it is divided into the business generation and the business delivery. The business generation part are the four important parts that I just spoke about, which is the sponsorship, ticketing, licensing, merchandising, marketing, and PR. Below that is the sales. Then you have to do the servicing, ticketing. There is online, box office, corporate hospitality. In licensing, merchandising, partnerships, then you do an audit of that. In the marketing, there you do above the line, which is ATL. Below the line, which are all the ground events that you would do. There is digital and social, which is massive these days, which is absolutely massive, because that is the kind of fan engagement that you build in. And then the press relations. The fan engagement is the other very important part. And the business delivery part are the team operations. So then you have a team manager. You have a team manager who is looking after the logistics of the team, the players and the staff recruitment, which is what happens, the kit, who manufactures the kit. So each of these things is detailed down to a very minute level. So when you see a team, you just see all of them rolling out completely. But there is a huge, humongous infrastructure which is functioning right behind those teams, just to ensure that all of them function properly, all of them work properly, and all of them are all these people who are working behind the scenes are working possibly doubly hard, just to ensure that when the players get onto the field, they do a good job. So I was mentioning about the team operations, the venue operations. That is another very, very big thing. So when you go and watch a match, when you go into a stadium and watch a match, firstly, when you go into the stadium, there is a stadium branding look and feel. It should all look well dressed up. It's almost like when you invite some people home, you have to ensure that your drawing room is looking good. So similarly, when the fans come into the stadium, it should look good. So the branding is neat, tidy, the look and feel is good. The hospitality areas, which are the high paying pricing areas, have to be good. You serve 5-star food and drinks there. You have to have some kind of entertainment out there. So there's a bit of song and dance. Concessions are there. Concessions are the food items. So you have to ensure that there's McDonald's. You do the tie-up with the McDonald's and the Domino's. There has to be very good housekeeping. So off late, what is one very important focus in many of the leagues in IPL and the ISL has been on ensuring that the quality of ladies' toilets is very good. So this is a very important aspect, because there's been a focus on getting the families into the stadium. And the families will come to the stadium only if the lady of the house is comfortable, that when she goes out, she can, there is a decent toilet. So it's a very small thing, but if you actually think about it, it's such an important aspect of this whole thing. So Uddhav, I don't know if you've ever attended any of these, and you guys have attended any of our matches in the Salt Lake Stadium or the Eden Gardens.
I've been there, sir.
And if you've seen it, then you will see the difference, what it was 10 years back and what it is right now. And there are so many ladies who come in and watch, primarily because they feel comfortable. And then there is the finance legal part, the legal part, which does the cash flow, budgeting, etc., and then the guest relations. So as aspirants of in the next 3-4 years, when you guys graduate from colleges and come out, so there are various things where you could look out and and depending on your interest, one could say that, okay, I love branding and marketing, I'd want to do that, I'd want to do digital, or I'd want to do licensing, merchandising, ticketing, sponsorship, or the stadium hospitality look and feel. So there are various opportunities that exist, and this is again an important thing. And later on, if you want, I can also share these slides with you so that you can circulate this. So the final slide that I have before I then open it up for questions is that what makes a sports team successful. So it is again it's the on-field performance, which is the most important, definitely the most important. Then you add on all of that, the marketing of that. Why is it that some teams people are aware of those teams more? Primarily because besides the on-field thing, the marketing is there. What is the celebrity influence? So people follow players. So suddenly you might like Virat Kohli, and you'll start following RCB. Arushi may like Dhoni, and then you say that Chennai Super Kings is my fan. Keshav may say, no, I'm from Calcutta, so therefore, the geography, location, KKR is my team. So there are various things that build affinity towards a team. So but a very, very important aspect of that is the on-field performance. The on-field performance of the team, the marketing of the team. How is this entire thing managed? My previous slide was about how the management teams are, and how important, what an important role they play in ensuring that all these things, there is a smooth functioning happening. And how does the fan engagement, like I again said earlier, the fan being the most important cog in the whole wheel, but unfortunately is a faceless character. So how does one team engage with those fans and make them feel that yes, they are they are the most important. And that's the reason why you would see that in the recent past, on the digital front, there is a lot of stuff that you see from inside the dressing rooms. Initially, you never saw all of that. Right now, you see teams taking those cameras into the dressing rooms and then seeing, so that then the fans can actually see what happens inside the dressing room. So they're making them feel like, yes, they are part of them. And therefore, the fan engagement is great. The teams who do this very well clearly are the brand value of those teams increase, and I've just put these brand value of these IPL teams which I've sourced from a brand report called the Brand Finance report. But similar brand reports are there with for the other teams as well. Just using the IPL example out here. So this, friends, is in a gist what I wanted to present. I've already taken about half an hour the time to present. Just want to give some credit to the sources that I've used to get this presentation. But yeah, so that's all that I had to talk about, and I'm happy to take on any questions if at all you might have anything of the Keshav, Arushi, Kriti.
Yeah, so we have some audience questions. Keshav has it. So, Keshav, can you take over?
Yes, we have a question from Yashvardhan Samsuka, who is saying like after the first two seasons, why was there a sudden downfall in the promotion of ISL, and how did it affect the revenue model of the league?
Keshav, just say that again. You just have to be a bit louder.
After the first two seasons, why was there a sudden downfall in the promotion of ISL, and how did it affect the revenue model of the league?
Okay, so I think the like any league and like any launch of a product, you spend the maximum amount of money when you're launching the product. It is impossible to continuously keep spending. So, for example, if Lay's is launched or Pepsi is launched or any new product is launched, the brand manager out there will say that, okay, if I have 100 rupees, I'm going to be spending 70 rupees in the first 1 month to bring out to ensure that to have a high decibel launch of that product. And that is where I think ISL was successful. So the first couple of years, there was a lot of noise that was made. And then gradually, it is impossible for any product for anybody to keep constantly blowing up that marketing money behind this. The product itself, if it is good enough, it will take off. And I think that is where ISL has been successful. ISL has been very successful out there because it increased the number of teams. Initially, there was just 8 teams. Then it increased from 8 to 10. Now it's increased from 10 to 11. So gradually, there are more teams coming in. The quality of football has gone up. The quality of footballers, the Indian footballers, has gone up. And for those who are following the ISL closely, will definitely say that yes, the the standard of Indian football has gone up, and that was the primary reason behind ISL. That was the primary reason behind ISL. How has it affected the finances of the league, of the teams, I think each of the teams, now that it is a longer season, have to ensure that there is a different kind of a financial model that they work on, and sponsors will have to chip in more. There are more number of games happening, so therefore more amount of gate money. Of course, both these things aren't valid in the last 2 years because of the pandemic. It's just been happening in one particular season. But otherwise, I think it's the initial burst was to ensure that the whole world knows about what the ISL is, and then let it grow organically.
So there's another question from Imad Raza, who is asking what was the perspective behind collaborating ATK with Mohan Bagan?
Yeah, so I think this was going on for some time. So the league had approached both Mohan Bagan and ATK for some kind of to come together, and we thought that there were great synergies in taking these brands together. Both the brands brought in a lot onto the table. Mohan Bagan with its very rich legacy. ATK was trying to modernize football in India, and was fairly successful as well in the first 5-6 years of its existence. And we thought that, and in fact, both the Mohan Bagan as well as ATK thought that this would be the right marriage, and it's shown. It started off very well. Last year we finished runners up, agonizingly close to winning the trophy, but hopefully we will take this. So we want to ensure that we bring on the might of both ATK and Mohan Bagan onto the field and ensure that the fans have a truly international style international club from India.
So another question, it's quite a good one. We all would like to know this answer. It's RPS gonna be back for the next season of IPL, considering BCCI approved two more teams for IPL.
So, Keshav, one doesn't know what the thing is. We are still, they might have approved, and all these are just media speculation. So, right now, only once the tenders come out, can one take a call on this. So currently, one doesn't know which cities they will come. So, it's all a matter of conjecture and speculation at the moment. But possibly after 2 months, if we speak on the same thing, we might have other answers.
So, what is some advice that you would give to your 17-year-old self?
Say that again, Uday.
So, what is the advice that you would give to your 17-year-old self?
17-year-old student aspiring to be what? Aspiring to be a athlete, aspiring to be
No, so like yourself, like Mr. Raghu when he was 17. Like, what advice would you give to him?
Acha. So when I was 17, I've been very lucky. My father was in the army, so I kept moving about from city to city. I grew up around with a lot of sport, and I had aspirations of becoming a sportsman myself. Luckily or unluckily, I realized that I wasn't good enough to become a proper sportsman. So therefore, I took on the next line, which is the next best line, which I thought would be to manage sports people. So I would say, you guys are young. I see the energy amongst all of you. So keep try out various things. So whatever there is there in your mind, and there might be a lot of confusion. So the one advice I would possibly give to all of you is that in case you all are feeling confused about what you want to do, uh, just be rest assured that that is exactly how everybody feels, not only at 17, but they feel like that at 70 as well. So, and in case you feel that yes, I want to become a sportsman, give it a shot. You think you want to become a musician, give it a shot, and give it a shot at any point in time. Take those risks, take those calculated risks, because there is no. The worst case is that you will come back to the position that you're in. So take a few risks in life and move on. So that's possibly the advice of the.
So we had another question by Mr. Tom Brady, who's from San Diego. So he asked this question that people follow the European football religiously, but they neglect Indian football a lot of times. Like even the Indian fans themselves do it. So like, what can be done to like change the mindset of many people?
Oh, absolutely. No, I think there's no doubt that European football is followed much more than, or rather, it's at least spoken about much more. Then, if you actually see the television ratings of an Indian Super League, it is more than what it is there of an EPL. It is there more than an EPL. So there are focused fans who are very very keen on Indian football, who are watching it. But I think the point of what you're making is that how can one broad base that, and I think that is a matter of time. Uh, for example, we at ATK Mohun Bagan, what we're trying to do is get in some quality international players onto our team. That automatically means that people will start following the team. We have in fact just recently signed on Joni Kaku, who a midfielder who played in the Euro for Finland. He was in the Finnish team, and he's going to be coming in and joining us to play right now. So I think all the teams like us, all the teams are also currently looking at how can they get some of these quality international stars into the team, and gradually hope that their quality rubs off on the Indian players and they also start playing more. So Tom, my answer to your question is that it doesn't happen at the snap of a finger. It is a process, but the good thing is that the process has begun and it is on the right trajectory.
So another question I had is like, so you were first the vice president of Sony Entertainment, after which you became a CEO of a sports team. So like, what was it to like go from one sector to completely different sector, and how did you cope up with the changes?
So Keshav, I have just to give you a brief background about Uddhav. Uddhav did talk to uh, gave a bit of a brief about myself. So I had graduated in economics from Sriram College of Commerce, way back in the 90s. And then after that, I did an MBA from NMIMS in Bombay. I joined Vodafone, which was called Hutchison Max at that time, and then Reuters, and then Sony Entertainment, and then Discovery Channel. All of them, most of them, were in the media space in the new media space. So, and add to that, I individually always kept an eye on what was happening in sport. So the sport industry as such had not really taken off at that point in time. I just kept an eye open on that. And the moment the opportunity arose, I did take that risk and jump on from Discovery onto a new company, which was a startup company, which later on went on to become Rajasthan Royals. But but I was in the media field, and then even if you see a sporting franchise in my presentation, like I'd shown how media brands play a very important role in that whole thing. So I wasn't very far off from that, and the reason I adapted very easily into the sports and sports role was it was my passion. So, and if it's something that you really love so much, you can very easily jump into that and gain experience. So if you like something that you're doing, it's always great fun.
So Keshav Bisani had a question. So what he asked was that did SRCC shape you to become what you have become right now? Like did it inspire you in any way?
Absolutely, I think SRCC is a great alma mater, and it's been a fantastic institute. I'm very proud of to have studied there in 3 years. And I don't know if any of you, if you guys have know enough about SR. I think SRCC has a very rich history out there, and I did the economics course. A couple of my well, the people who did the BCom honors there also great courses. So did SRCC have a impact and shape me? 100%. I think the personality and the kind of environment that SRCC gave us at that point in time surely played a very important role.
So how was your time at Reuters, like managing the accounts of Reuters?
So it wasn't managing accounts. So when you say the account manager, it wasn't the finance accounts. It wasn't that. So when you're a sales guy, I've been a salesperson throughout. So when you say a national account means which are the large banks that you go and sell to. So that's what it meant. So there were those companies that I had to go and manage. But Reuters again was I've been lucky to have worked with some fantastic multinationals. Vodafone, Reuters was a British company. Discovery was a US multinational. Sony Entertainment at time was a joint venture between Sony Pictures and this. But Reuters was again it gave me the exposure as to how a truly large British multinational works. And Reuters again had a very rich history. It was a 100-year-old company, and how they had survived the all the ups and downs, and how does a brand survive all the years in the ups and downs. So those were the learnings. Those were the learnings in Reuters.
Sir, I had another question. So, in India, sports management is still a growing sector, and many of our friends are still aiming at going for foreign sports management. So, what want to ask is like, what is the future of sports over here in India? How is going to grow in India sports management, and does it have a good future in India,
So
basically?
Keshav, like I showed you in the slides earlier, with all those leagues that are mushrooming, there is hope that in the next 10 years, this whole thing becomes a very large industry. And when we talk about sports, so one should not only think about hanging around with Virat and hanging around with Dhoni. So that is not. People want to get into that thinking that okay, I will wear that pata and the Eden Gardens. You'll see the guys walking around, but that's what attracted me first initially. But the ecosystem is so big. So if you see, you could get a job in Star Sports or Sony Sports, and then get into sports broadcasting. You could get into athlete management, which is again very big these days. Which is very big these days. So the brands that there are brands that focus on only sports sponsorships. So, for example, DHL has a massive sports sponsorship team worldwide. Worldwide, Castrol, they have a massive sports sponsorship team worldwide. Then there are these leagues that are happening, which again not only the national leagues, but then there are the domestic leagues. You would have seen there is TNPL, there is a Tamil Nadu Premier League, there is a very soon there's going to be a West Bengal league, there is a Mumbai league. So things are percolating down to many levels, and I think if a person is genuinely interested, there are going to be enough jobs. Uh, but India does need those international heroes. It does need non-cricket heroes for those other sports to grow, and that's in a small role that football is also trying to play. So Keshav, to answer your question, yes, sports is growing. If one can get international experience, great. Because I think in the US sports is I think the fourth largest industry. So it's that big. With those four sports itself, it's the fourth largest industry. It is that big. UK is big. UK football is UK and Europe, continental Europe football is massive. In Australia is the other country where sports is very big. India is not yet there, but is it going in that direction? Yes, it is. And I think by the time you guys graduate, all of you are 17 and 18, you still have another 3 or 4 years. And by the time I think you finish possibly a post-graduation, you'll be about 23, 24. So that's about 6 years from now. So by then, it would be a really robust industry. I'm very hopeful that it will be a robust industry to offer something to such bright students like yourselves.
And another question from Ashmit Agarwal. He is asking, sir, you have been working in so many, you have the experience of working in so many companies. So, like, which one of these companies stood out and gave you the experience that you needed? Which company
I
inspired you
think
the
the
most?
most, no, I think clearly, because I've been a sports lover and I've had such great experiences in sport. I think my current organization, I have got the experience uh, of cricket, of handling football, of handling international football with Atletico de Madrid, of cricket, uh, Rising Pune Supergiant. We have a partnership with the Virat Kohli Foundation where we do a loads of awards ceremonies. We did one award ceremony in UK. We did one yeah, at the Lords. That was there. In Rajasthan Royals, again, the first season, uh, I don't know if you all remember, in 2008, you guys would have been very, very young, extremely young, but Rajasthan Royals were the inaugural champions in 2008. So we were there. So the thrill of winning the IPL, holding a tournament, running onto the ground, and all of that was great. So I think the last two organizations have been fantastic. Not to say that that my experience in Discovery and Sony and Reuters, Hutchison wasn't good. They were also at that point in time brilliant, and each organization has shaped me. But from a sporting angle, I think my current organization and the previous one is what has given me tremendous amount of joy. Who
And
is asking all these questions, Keshav? Where are these questions coming from?
sir, we had put up a poll on Instagram before the webinar where we had mentioned that you will be coming and we have asked them to list down the questions. So we are just
Okay,
listing down from them. We are filtering out some questions and asking them.
sure. Okay.
Yes, and another question which I wanted to ask, since you touched upon American sports, so like, is there any American league which has influenced Indian leagues? How has American leagues influenced Indian leagues?
Oh, absolutely. I think the IPL is modeled on the NFL. So, the important things like a salary cap coming in was there in the NFL, which is the National Football League. And that is a extremely successful league for uh, the league owners and the team owners. It is very successful. So it was kind of modeled around the NFL. And then, of course, there are certain elements taken on from here and there on various leagues of the NBA, etc., etc. But the NFL is probably the biggest influence that has had on the IPL in terms of the governance structure. In terms of the governance structure. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, sir. So I think we have this much questions only. And sir,
Okay.
another questions. If I think I have one more question I found out. Just a second. So one more question is like football fans across the country view ISL as a commercialized league, and the recent replacement of I League by ISL has made some of them furious. So how does ISL plan to expand its business without hurting the sentiments of these fans?
So is the question, just repeat the question slowly, Keshav. What does it say about the fans?
The football fans across the country view ISL as a commercialized league, and the recent replacement of I League by ISL has made them furious. So how does ISL plan to expand its business without hurting their sentiments?
Okay, got it. Got it. No, absolutely. None of the fans can be taken, should be taken for granted ever in any sport. You saw the uh, uh, in Europe recently. The top 15 teams tried to walk away and make a league of their own, and that whole thing was dealt with such ire from the fans that they all had to beat a retreat. So no fans are ever uh, taken for granted and cannot be taken for granted. As far as Indian football is concerned, I think for a long time like somebody had said, Sepp Blatter initially had said, it's a sleeping giant and it had to wake up. And for any sport to grow and to achieve that kind of potential, there was, there is financial support was required. That is where I think ISL has come in. So whether you say AIFF, FSDL, they jointly put this whole model together and got stakeholders who are willing to put in uh, uh, money behind this whole thing and invest serious amount of money, not only in the teams but in the grassroots level as well. So I think while ISL may be commercial on the face of it, but it is not Mickey Mouse football. It is serious football. It is absolutely serious football. So you have the brightest in the world coming. You have all the Indian players who are coming in and playing there. And like I said, all these teams are also investing a lot in the grassroots level of football. So when you're doing a lot in the grassroots level, automatically in the next 10 years, there'll be a groundswell of players who will come out and do this. And I think the fans do realize that everybody is very clear that the sentiment of the fans cannot be tinkered with. Uh, this is football, and as far as ISL is concerned, it will also broad base. There are plans to broad base it later on. This has become the Premier League of this. The two of the iconic teams which are playing in the ISL have now and the I League have come on to the ISL with SC East Bengal and of course Mohun Bagan also coming in. So I think everybody, all those aspects have been looked at very seriously, and uh, and everybody does ensure that that will ensure rather that the fans only keep growing and they get the right. Because if you don't have fans, there is no sport. There's no sport without fans. Nobody can take them for granted.
So I just had one last question. Like personally, I had it. So you must be aware of the tennis league that was happening like a few years back, IPTL. Like there
Yeah.
was tennis league. It was by Mr. Mahesh Bhupati. I think he has started it. So like, why did it get discontinued? Like, do you know the reason behind it getting discontinued, and why did tennis lose popularity as a sport?
I think more than that, the success of a league depends on who are what is the financial muscle of the team owners who are there. I think that is also very important in how serious are they in promoting the sport. The reason IPL is very successful is that of course, the IPL is a very successful business model. You take the ISL also. ISL is also, all the team owners are very successful businessmen and they know what they're getting into. So as far as uh, the business model is concerned, they are all very, very sound business people behind these teams. Similarly with Kabaddi. So I think the success of a league, I don't fully know about who were the, how the IPTL was run. But on a generic level, I think that is when a league will succeed. And then add to that is there are there enough tennis players who are there, and are there enough interest in the fans in tennis? I mean, if I ask you around the group, name 5 Indian tennis players, I'm sure people will struggle. So you would not know that. But similarly, in case of football players, it may not be 5, but people may know 10, 15, 20 players, football players, kabaddi players, maybe more. So I think there is a lot more at the grassroots level that needs to be done. So bring on that sport and bring on a few players who are known, who become nationally known, and then have a league to to ensure that all these guys can showcase their talents. Does that answer your question? Udai?
Yeah, sir. Okay, so now I'll request Keshav to give the concluding speech.
Yeah. So, good evening, everyone, and good evening, sir, again. So, as today's meeting comes to an end, we would like to thank you for your enriching words today. I'm sure everyone had some positive takeaway, especially from a presentation which was quite informative. And sir, your speech, a few takeaways from your speech are like you told us about how sports management is not only about becoming a CEO of a country hanging out with others player, like also you said about broadcasting, athlete management, which was news to me. And I guess many other people, it would be news for many other people also. And sir, you cleared out some of the major doubts like about sports management, which is usually not talked about. And it was an eye opener for all of us for the business side of sports. And so, sir, I would like to thank you for sparing some time from your busy schedule and enriching us with such a great session. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Keshav. I really enjoyed this also, Uddhav. And you have my coordinates. That at any point in time, any of you want to reach out to me on something, just drop me an email, and I will respond. So all the very best to all of you, each one of you, and thank you for this session. I really enjoyed it myself.
Yes, sir. Thank
Thank
you,
you, sir.
sir. It
Thank
was
you.
truly
Thank
great to
you.
speak with you.
Thank you, Keshav. Thank you. So can I log
Bye.
off? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
Sure, sir.
Sure,
Thank
sir.
you.